Welcome to Own It, Your Business and Your Life with Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. In this podcast, we're going to cover everything you need to embrace to become a successful entrepreneur, marketing, money and much, much more. How to create a business doing just what you love. How to own it, your business and your life. This one will be fast, funny, feisty and very lively. So sit back and enjoy the show. Last thing I wanted to deafen you as well. Then we'd have two people with only one ear working.
Yes. How did you get that ear thing?
Surfing waves, jumping waves, wave jumping. You know, that thing you do when you're children and there's lots of lovely big waves just coming bigger than you, so you have to jump over them.
Water in your ear, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Essentially, yes. I did it twice, and the second time was the killer one.
Oh dear. And actually, what's the only thing worse than that? Getting on a plane with that, isn't it?
Well, exactly. Luckily, I managed to get some aqua ear out of the pharmacist and some painkillers, which took me the first 14 hours. But at some points, I was nearly sobbing with pain. It was really...
Yes, I can imagine. Yes, you poor sausage. I was feeling for you.
Yeah, but, hey, there we go. So as per not our last recording, I went to Australia.
I mean, if that's the worst thing that happened to you in quite an adventure, that you got water in your ear from surfing waves, it's not bad, is it?
No, it isn't bad at all. So do you want to hear how it happened then? Because it was a bit...
I do, yes, I do. Of course I do. Come on. And not just me, but the listeners as well.
Well, exactly. Our lovely listeners will recall that I'd managed to talk myself out of going to Australia for James Schramko's Superfast business, because while I'd bought the ticket, on the early bird thing, and I'd booked the hotel, I talked myself out of it, really. And then I woke up on last Thursday morning with after having had a weird dream. It wasn't even a dream. It was a dream so much as a premonition. I'm not like this at all, am I? But the feeling of loss and despair, well, not despair, no, the feeling of loss, that was the overriding feeling that I came out of the dream with. And my ex-therapist used to say, it's not so much what happens in dreams, but the way you feel in them. And the feeling of loss was so strong. I just thought, this is ridiculous. Why am I not going? And so I just thought, the old, who was it? Mark Forster trick. I'll just get the file out. I thought, I'll just look up to see if I can get an Australian visa online. And I did, and I could, and it took a nanosecond. And I thought, I'll just look up to see if there's any flights. And it was because I'd let go of this thing of having to go business class, although having done it cattle class now, I think I would have to insist on business class next.
You went darling, you went cattle to Sydney.
I know.
Oh my God, that makes you, oh my God, that makes your achievement so much more Herculean. Well done.
And not only that, I was on inside seats, so I couldn't get an aisle seat. I had a window seat going part of the way, but I was inside on the middle. So I was trapped by big burly blokes, and men on planes are not very considerate, I have to tell you. They just spread their legs out, spread their elbows out. Every time they turn over, they do it violently, as opposed to moving seamlessly and gently through the motions of shifting in your seat. And so Herculean labour indeed. But going out wasn't as bad because you've got the excitement of it all. And, the fact that you're doing something so bonkers to carry you through. But coming back was always going to be a different kettle of fish. But it was absolutely fabulous. Australia is everything they say it is. Sydney's a fabulous city. It's just beautiful. The sunshine is beautiful. The warmth is beautiful. It is so very far away, though, Judith. When you're sitting on that plane and you're looking at that map, and even the leg from Dubai across the Indian Ocean, and then you've gone 2/3 of the way, and you've still got the entire of Australia to go.
Somebody said on Facebook on your outgoing journey when you were at Dubai, nearly there then, and I went, oh no, she's so not nearly there.
She's not even a quarter of the way there yet.
It's nothing. Dubai is nothing. Dubai is a little hop from here.
It was astonishing, really. But I got there, and I arrived at 6:30 in the morning. So the hotel wouldn't let me in, although they would let me into their leisure suite, so I could have a shower at the very least. And then I went on a boat trip up the Sydney River to. No, I can't remember the name of the place. The places were all very strange names, and it was a 3-hour round trip, and it was a little ferry, and it sort of stopped everywhere. So I got to see a lot of Sydney from the river, and it was beautiful. But the one thing I did forget to pack was sunblock. So I stayed inside in the shade a lot of the time, but I still got quite brown, stroke burnt a bit. And then I went to the hotel, which was wonderful. And they upgraded me to a suite. So I had a suite that was bigger than my cottage. It was just, I had rooms in my bathroom, Judith, for the separate areas. It was just ridiculous. And stayed there one night. And then the next day, my friend Lorraine, who I haven't seen for 25 years, came over and we went out for lunch in Darling Harbour and we caught up on 25 years worth of gossip, which took several hours, I have to say. And then I went over to Manly and had dinner with Neil Asher and his family.
This was all on the first day, on the Monday.
Second day this was.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. So
okay. Yeah.
So, but they all get around on these little ferries, these ancient old ferries which chug about in the river, and it's just it's so lovely, and going across the water is so nice. And it took it's a fiver and 25 minutes, and you're on a different part of Sydney entirely. And Manly Beach is stunning, and my hotel looked right over the beach. I knew it was going to be good when I checked in, dragged my suitcase to the lift, and a half-naked blonde surfer walked in with me.
And were you staying in the hotel that was the venue for the conference?
Yes.
Okay.
It was lovely. So everyone was meeting in the bar. It was all nice and easy. So so that was and then I'll tell you a bit more about the actual conference itself next week. But because I'm still absorbing it all. But what's been happening in your week while I've been away then?
Well, I had most of the week off. Last week we decided when we last spoke that we would all have a half term, and the following week was Monday the 29th of February, and about halfway through February I thought, well, we don't really need that 29th. It's a spare day. I'm going to have the day off. Because most years we don't have it, so why work an extra day? Why work a 366th day? So I told all my clients I'm having February the 29th off, and the things I normally do on the Monday I'll do on the Tuesday. And a nice little gap fell in my Small Business Big Magic course, so I had that week off from that as well. I had a week off from the podcast because you and I couldn't make it work over the Wi-Fi. So I had quite a slack week last week, which felt very decadent to begin. I always think it feels very decadent to begin a new year or a new week by having the day off. But I feel quite recharged by it, actually. So I have my own little personal half term starting on Monday the 29th. So I've been quite a slacker while you've been away and enjoyed every moment of it.
Well, I saw you post a very good meme that was something about doing nothing and then doing nothing.
Yes. Yeah. I endless amounts of time, more nothing time. Please bring it on.
Yeah. Well, I after our call last time, I went through with Phoebe and I've put in a trip every month. So she can book it ahead, and even if we don't go anywhere, I'll have the time off. So long.
Do you mean like when you say a trip? What do you mean?
Well, I mean every single month I'm going to book some time off, like a mini half term, like you said.
Oh, I see. Right. So I wasn't. You confused me by use of the word trip, as though you were going. I was thinking she's not going to Australia every month, is she? What do you mean by a trip?
Well, just the fact that it's Easter at the end of this month, and then after a couple of weeks after that, I've got a long weekend in Barcelona penciled in with Phoebes, and then
nice.
So we're planning trips and putting names next to them. But if we don't end up going anywhere, it will just be time off.
Yeah, nice.
So
lovely. Well done.
Taking that one on board.
Yeah. Good. And how did you feel lag-wise? I mean, I'm amazed that you're so perky on a Wednesday morning, given you only got back on Monday. That would take me a week to get over.
Well, I came back Monday about lunchtime. Sarah picked me up. I sat and had a cup of tea and I was falling asleep on the sofa, so I went to bed. Woke up about 8 o'clock in the evening, stayed up till about 11, woke up at 5 in the morning Tuesday, was falling asleep by 9 o'clock last night. And then woke up again at 5 o'clock this morning, so read a book for a couple of hours and then went back to sleep for a couple of hours. So I'm just really letting my body dictate what's going on, really. But
so I think that's a good idea if you can. Yeah.
So I'm gradually just getting back into the time zone. I haven't finished unpacking yet, but that's another thing I've stopped flogging myself about is unpacking everything straight away. I just unpack it as I go now.
Yeah, it's much kinder, isn't it? It's much kinder than feeling obliged to do things in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. So so I'm feeling pretty good actually. In spite of the year, I managed to get a very urgent appointment at a Miami clinic, which is springing up across the country apparently, and they're called minor incidents, minor something and minor emergencies, accidents, minor incidents and minor accidents. So they're like private clinics, but they're not private, they're NHS, and they're designed to take they're designed to take the heat off A&Es and doctor's surgery, so doctors are more long-term patients.
Brilliant. My best friend, also called Nicola, makes full use of a walk-in clinic, but I think actually they've shut her walk-in clinic. I wonder where are the Miamis? Are they? I don't understand.
Well, just do a search online, I suppose, for Miami clinics. It's minor incident and minor accidents.
Accident, yes, I like it. Lovely mnemonic.
One-offs, basically, one-off things that you would go to the doctor for.
So and when are you going to see? When are you going to Miami?
No, I went yesterday morning. They fitted me in straight away. I rang at 8 and I was there by 8:30.
And did they sort your ear out?
Yeah, they've given me they had, the eardrops weren't cutting it basically, so I've got some heavy duty antibiotics and some very horrible stuff that it's freezing cold and it has to be fired right down your ear. It's really unpleasant.
Well, I don't believe in doctors or ill health at all, and the last time I went to the GP was in 1987. The last thing I went for was exactly what you've got. There is nothing more painful than having earache, is there?
Apart from toothache.
Well, yeah, possibly, yes. I would go to the dentist, to be fair, but last time I had cause to go for any medical intervention was for ears.
Yeah, it's the pain. You just can't stand it. So
it is painful, yes. It's in your brain if you think about it.
Yeah, right. It's a bit like our podcast. We're right in people's heads.
Yes. So I hardly dare ask what's fueled your fire.
Well, travel, obviously. I just being brave. I'm just being brave. I'm just not. It really astonished me how many people are travelling around the globe at any one time.
Oh, I know. Do you know they can't land all the planes, can they?
We're as a human race, we're constantly on the move.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Or holidays, and the fact that I don't feel I've travelled very much in my life, and I'm catching up now though. But it's something about going to other countries that just gives you a different perspective on things. So that's and the fact that I could just rearrange things for a week. I mean, okay, our podcast suffered, which I was really quite upset about because it's annoying that the broadband.
I wasn't. The fact that we missed one in however many.
A year and
we're a little bit over diligent about this. We do them on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve and all sorts of things. I do think we could relax a tad, Nicola, by about 5%. If we miss one now and again for a good reason, or we decide not to do one week because it's your birthday or mine or Christmas or something, I don't think it matters. Honestly, I don't.
No, and we actually had exactly the same number of downloads last week as we would have done if we'd published an episode. So
that's interesting. So they're not downloading current ones necessarily, are they?
No, exactly. So that was interesting, but it just really made me realise. To encourage the teens to get out, this whole thing about going travelling when you finish university, how important that is. Because if you don't travel, then you've got no perspective on life, and you've got no way of telling where you might want to live, what kind of people you might want to be around. I just think it's just crucial, really.
I think it opens you up to all different sorts of experiences and people, and it broadens the mind and introduces you to different cultures. And I mean, if you never leave England, you'd think that Chinese food and Indian food was what they eat in China and India, which it's not.
No. And the other thing is, it's gone right out my head, whatever it was. Oh, here we go. Right. Okay. So the feeling I had was that I had to go to this Superfast Business Conference, and there was something, revelationary was going to come to me while I was there. And it wasn't that at all, because I saw Neil for dinner on the night that I arrived in Manly, and then he was supposed to come over for drinks one evening after the conference on Thursday, and then he didn't come on that one. But then his wife and kids went camping somewhere, so we hung out and spent the day together on Saturday. Had a really, really lovely day, and took me to a great fish restaurant and all this stuff. And we've actually decided to go into a rather exciting business together. Not a full-time, all-consuming one like it was before, but something that we both think is the next big thing, and that we both think we're uniquely equipped to get in front of very quickly. And so that's very exciting. So I think I wasn't, that feeling of loss wasn't the fact that I would have lost out by not going to the conference necessarily, although the people were fabulous. I really enjoyed meeting everyone. But it was the fact that Neil and I wouldn't have had that time to catch up, get over the fact that our last business didn't work out together, and have the time to realise that we really enjoyed working together under certain circumstances and that we'd like to do it again. So I think that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gone out there in person.
No, well, that's the thing. We often don't know where things are going to lead.
Yeah. And I think, being in front of someone, going to these events, you create relationships that open up opportunities that simply wouldn't happen if you weren't there.
I think that's true, and it might not even be a relationship. It might just be an opportunity. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. I've come off one of my 0800 calls, as I call them, this morning at 8 o'clock on the every other Wednesday morning, and there's a lady there that started something and was quite nervous about speaking to me about it because it's not, she's already working on several other projects and she thought I'd be cross.
Yeah.
And we talked through it, and I couldn't see the money in it, and it didn't matter because, of course, it might lead to something else, and it certainly leads to her being visible.
Yes. Well, that's good. That's always good.
Yeah, it is. So you just don't know. It was also getting out and about, and it was providing a lovely antidote to sitting at her computer all day.
Yeah.
And bumping into people is what makes things happen quite often.
And it was really interesting because when I went to that Rich Sheffrin thing, I that weekend I came out of there, and you had to write a statement about yourself, and mine was something along the lines of, "I'm a brave, inspiring person," and obviously I'm not very brave normally, but I'm forcing myself to be. And the kids all were completely, they were just brilliant. When I said, "Oh, I'm off to Australia," they said, "When?" I said, "Tomorrow." They were like, "Oh my God, Mum, you're so inspiring."
Oh, bless.
Yes, and all their friends, because I obviously, I Snapchatted away around Sydney, and they all just say, "God, it's so inspiring that you can just get up and go like that," and it's really made Phoebe think about how her life could be like that as well, because she's got mates off travelling at the moment, so she's booked a month in Bali in July.
The interesting thing about this is anybody that's self-employed, whose children are of a certain age. So if you don't have a day job and then your children aren't tiny, we can all do this.
Yes, we could.
We don't have to wait for permission.
Yeah, it's like all the teens are looking at me now as if, oh my God, I wonder if I could do something that would enable me to do that.
Yeah, well, there's a good project.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And there is, one of them is trapped in a call centre job. Well, she feels trapped in a call centre job, and she, her own limiting beliefs are telling her that she hasn't got any choices. Whereas actually, of course, she's got choices. There, that new Instagram thing that's come out. Phoebe's working through that now, but she's fueled up to make it work, and she is making it work. And the very thought that she could have a few clients paying her to do Instagram marketing for them, it's just got her going. She's on module 2, video 8 now, whereas she hasn't.
Well, I think if you're talking about the girl in the call centre, it may not be her limiting beliefs, it may be her parents and grandparents' limiting beliefs. It takes a while before we, as emerging adults, shake that off. And I remember saying to somebody once something like, I realised when I was 32, and they were 32, it took me much longer to realise that. We come into our own throughout our adult life, don't we? So, that girl, it may not be her limited choices, limiting beliefs so much as the ones that were imposed upon her.
Yeah. And as Phoebe's working through this Instagram course, this Nathan Chan thing, she's actually coming and saying to me, "I've got a limiting belief, Mum, I need you to bust it for me." And she tells me what it is, So she's very aware now of these thoughts coming up that would stop her in her tracks. And
yes, I don't want to talk too much about Instagram now because that's what you're going to talk to us about in the next section.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I think we've reached the next section, haven't we? What's fueled your...
No, because you're going to ask me what's fueled my fire. But actually, on the basis that we're already 19 minutes into this, I'm going to can what's fueled my fire, and I'll bring it back next week because it's a longer thing.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
All right.
I've been helping clients enjoy happier lives for nearly 40 years, during which time I've enjoyed thousands of conversations with human beings in all their infinite variety. It makes a big difference to have someone with whom you can share things you might not have told another living soul, perhaps not even admitted to yourself. A confidant, an ally, a secret weapon. Now I've created Big Talk so that I can help you create a wonderful life through a series of significant conversations. You talk and I give you a damn good listening to. Our calls will raise your vibration and clear out all that stands between you and what you want. Big Talk will reshape your life, your work, your business, your ideas and your money. We'll talk about anything and everything. Visit judithmorgan.com to find out more about Big Talk and prepare for your magical transformation.
So, client challenge of the week then.
Yeah, you promised us, you and I, when we were going to talk on that Friday and then didn't before you went away, you suggested to me that you would tell us more about Instagram. You know Alice has got very excited about it while you've been away.
Oh, okay.
Talk to us, yes, tell us, just give us some, I'm not even on it.
Yeah.
Tell me why I should be. Tell anybody that's listening who's not on Instagram and doesn't really get pictures why we should be on it and how easy it is or what.
Well, okay, so Nathan Chan is okay, let's go back further. Let's go back to 2006 when Ed Dale and Frank Kern are working together on the underachievers method. Do you know the thing some of us got excited about where you...
No, don't tell us too much about that because you mentioned that last time.
Yeah, okay.
Cut the preamble if you can.
Okay, all right. So, as well, anyway, Ed Dale launched a thing where he was encouraging people to launch digital magazines in an area that they were passionate about.
Yeah, and Nathan Chan did that. You told us this last time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to get you through that bit if possible.
Founder magazine, okay. So one of the reasons he grew it so fast and furiously, and it did seem to come out of nowhere, was he used Instagram. And he was experimenting with lots of different ways to use Instagram. Now, the reason he used Instagram was because he is a very visual person, and Founder magazine is a very beautiful looking magazine. So he started building his following on Instagram, and he does inspirational quotes around being a founder of a business. And he also interspersed that with personal pictures from his life while he travels around the world, sort of thing. So that's very inspirational. But what he did, one of the things he did was he tagged every picture. Everyone gives you proper, advice about Instagram. Only tag things with 7 hashtags. Do it in the comments rather than in the actual description of the thing that you're posting. But he really started with the whole quote thing, and it grew dramatically. People love to share inspirational quotes, as you've seen. They love to share memes, as it's called, thoughts on nice backgrounds and nice writing. And the tools exist to do this now, which are Word Swag and Typorama. So they give you backgrounds, or you can choose your own pictures and then put your own thoughts on, and it's just really easy to do it. I'm crap at graphic design. I hate it. It slows me down horribly. But when I realised that there were these little tools, I've started using them. But the other thing I've started doing is Snapchatting, saving the picture to my phone, uploading it straight to Instagram, and then I've set up automation so it goes out from there to all my other social media platforms. So from 1 or 2 actions, I'm covering an awful lot of ground and really showing people what it's like to work for yourself and travel around, which is, that's what a lot of people want. So,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just from doing the tagging properly of my Instagram pictures, I've grown my followers by a couple of hundred in the last 2 weeks. Now I had 277 followers when I started, so I've pretty much doubled my followers. And the ways that people make it money on Instagram, this is what Phoebe was asking me. How will I make money? I understand, Mum. She had about 500 followers, and she's growing hers by about 50 a day, because the youth are much more into it, obviously. But the reason we need to pay attention to it is because the demographic of the 18 to 25-year-olds, the people who will become our customers in the next 5 to 10 years, are not on Twitter, Facebook, or blogging, and they don't use email. My 2 literally only have email accounts to get emails from me occasionally. And
I have warned you about the death of the list.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon for the older generation, i.e. 25 upwards. But I do believe that the app and younger app route, Instagram, Twitter, not Twitter, they are a bit on Twitter, but not much. Instagram and Snapchat are the 2 big ones. And live video streaming is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So even though if we're not visual people, and I love a visual, but I'm not good at graphic design, the tools exist to make it easy for me. And with you, you love words. And what is a meme except a set of words or a thought on a pretty...
Well, I would like to tell you something quite interesting on this topic, actually.
Let me just...
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say how do you make money on Instagram, but let's go with your thought, and then we'll.
Well, it's a very quick point. When you and I open up Google every day, we have the Chrome extension called Momentum.
Yes, which we love.
There is a tiny little inspirational quote down the bottom with a Twitter button that encourages you to tweet it. And I've been tweeting it every day, I don't know, and my tweets automatically turn up on my Facebook business page as well. And what I've noticed is the huge amount of, relatively speaking, engagement that attracts. So back to your point about inspirational quotes, the world loves them.
Well, you taught me something I didn't know right there, because I didn't know that if you hover over that quote, a Twitter thing comes up.
Yeah, look at it and tweet it and see what happens. So I don't really do much on Twitter, as you know, except tweet old posts occasionally. Yeah. And I can see who's interacting with that, as you can. And I'm seeing retweets, a lot of say 3 retweets a day, which is a lot from nothing. And people liking it when it appears on my Facebook page as well. So it's creating, relatively speaking, a lot of interaction from one click.
That's really interesting, isn't it?
Mm. And the good thing for their business model is it's got @momentum dash on the end of the tweet. Are you having a go? Today it's Steve Jobs, isn't it?
Yeah, I just had to remove that because it made it too long. But I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I removed via and the dash.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I wouldn't remove it if there was enough space. So they
quite. And some of them are too long, and that's their own fault. But I do a little bit of editing, you know, if it's worth it, and sometimes remove. You have to remove. Occasionally, you have to remove stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a disproportionate amount of engagement from that one thing first thing in the morning when you open up Google the first time.
That's really interesting. Phoebe was saying, oh, I can't just fire out quotes every day. Everyone will think I'm spamming them, because she had this fear about spamming her people who are following her. And I said, darling, you love a nice inspirational quote. You love it when I give you a life lesson. You know, I said, you know, don't worry about spamming. Only do one a day and intersperse that with pictures of your life. And nobody will think you're spamming them. They'll be, you know, the people who are meant to see that quote will see it and like it and share it. And the people who, so she's gone off. And I said, the other thing is you ought to find quotes from people who are relevant to your age group. So go and find quotes from Kanye West and Jay-Z and you know, and perhaps if you hear a song and you love a lyric from a song, quote that. You know, quote stuff that's relevant to you and your age group, not stuff that's just necessarily for older people.
And if one was going to create something that Instagrammable from an inspirational quote, do you prefer word swag or typorama?
Well, they both got their things, but the other thing you need to do is make sure you use one that enables you to put a watermark on it, and your watermark should be your business logo. So you're claiming.
So which one do you use? Which one do you favour?
I'm using word swag at the moment just because I'm finding it easy to use, but typorama is worth looking at. Phoebe and I both invested in an app yesterday for $3.99, which is, you know, it's so funny because she hates buying apps, but she said, I've got to invest in my business, I'll just do it. And it made me laugh. And it's called Repost, and it's an app that enables you to scroll through your feed on Instagram and find things you like and repost them. With your own comments, so that's well worth investing in. Which could just a little app called Repost, and in fact, it enables you to repost onto any of your platforms, not just Instagram. It gives you the choice of all your platforms. Yeah. But it's fun, Judith. I think you'll enjoy it once you get an app. It's a good reason to get a smartphone.
Well, I don't need a smartphone yet because I don't have a life that I take photographs of. But if I were living in St Martin and didn't need to earn a living anymore, it might be something I could have some fun with.
Try it, see if you can get the app for iPad, because I'm pretty sure you can. Now, this is something I learned at everybody listening, you pay attention right now, okay? One of the astonishing facts I found out at the conference is that there is over 1 billion people on Facebook, and 900 million of them, 90% of the people who are active on Facebook right now are on mobile devices. It's gone from 50% of people on mobile devices to 90% of people on mobile devices within about 3 years. You know, at some point, everybody will be on a mobile device of some kind, i.e. an iPad. And remember, iPads are mobile devices. The other astonishing thing I found out from Ezra Firestone, who's got an Amazon store business, and he's also got a business teaching people how to make money from Amazon stores. He's making $1.5 million a month, Judith. $1.5 million a month, and he's spending 500,000, so $500,000 a month on Facebook ads. And he says because he was going quite deep into his Facebook ad technique. I learned loads of stuff from him. He said, if you're running Facebook ads and you know that 90% of people are on mobile, it's worth splitting out your ads into the option you have, obviously, which is desktop or mobile, and then it's worth further splitting out your mobile ads into only show when people are on Wi-Fi, because if they're out and about, they're on the bus, they're not in buying mode, but if they're sitting at home on their mobile on a Wi-Fi, they're probably settled, relaxed, and in buying mode. So
that's a very good tip, and obvious when you think about it.
It is obvious when you think it's common sense, but we often don't know common sense, so it bites us in the bum.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So that was a very good tip for all you people who are experimenting with Facebook ads out there. Just think about the fact 90% of people are on mobile. You could even advertise to people who are on iPhones, Androids, or iPads, and then only when those people are on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I like about that, and going back to the common sense point. If you put yourself on the customer end, that's obvious. And what we forget to do when we're on the marketing end is think, oh, what am I like when I'm doing this?
Yeah, that's right. So you wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I would buy stuff on the bus if I saw something I wanted, but a lot of people wouldn't because they'd be worried about putting in their cards. But a lot of people now, Phoebe's using contactless buying all the time.
Yeah.
You know, she just walks through the co-op and waves her phone at the checkout. It's going so fast, Judith, I can't keep up.
You'll have to, darling, you'll have to.
Thank God I've got, living examples that laugh at me being an old Luddite. So back to Instagram, I just think that bearing in mind that your future customers are not using email, you've got to get on one of these platforms where you can get in front of the up-and-coming customers.
And Nathan Chan's course was quite a lot of money. Remind us how much it was.
If you bought it outright, it was $900, which worked out to about 600 quid. Or if you spread it out over 3 to 6 months, it was slightly more expensive, but it's closed.
I know you're a fan of it. If one wasn't ready to invest in that but wanted to have a fiddle about, is there a cheaper one or a free one or a starter one or something like that?
I haven't seen one, but what you could do is just search free Instagram tips on Google. And you'll probably be able to find some really good ones. Or search, and this is the other thing, Judith, is don't forget that the youth use YouTube and Facebook as search engines. So go and put in free Instagram tips on Facebook in the search bar, and then do the same on YouTube. And especially with YouTube, put free Instagram tips 2015, and then try free Instagram tips 2016, and you'll only be shown the most recent stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it's well worth, I think, especially if you've got a business that's visually orientated. Now, how do you make money on Instagram apart from selling your services as an Instagram marketer? What the people with the big accounts are doing is they are selling what's called shout outs. So, for example, if they use a product or endorse a product, they can get paid up to $10 to $50,000 for a shout out, a product placement, in other words, where they endorse a product with a picture. If you're using it for your own business, get a meme made, or make yourself a meme that's got a call to action in it about your giveaway product. And every day, at least once, intersperse your quotes and your day-to-day random pictures with your call to action meme. And that call to action meme directs them back to your bio. And in your bio, you can have a live link to your website and send them straight through to the place on your website where they can get that giveaway.
Gotcha.
So and the other ways, obviously, to make money are how else? So doing shout outs, doing swap shouts. So, for example, if you find people in your niche that have got really big accounts and you're similar numbers to you, you can do swap shouts to build your followers. And the other thing is that you could actually it's gone right out of my head again. Sorry, jet lag's catching up with me. It'll come back to me. There's another way to do it as well. Plenty of ways to make money without having to sell yourself as an Instagram marketer.
Very good. Remind me the mechanism that you've got going on your USA and Australian trips where you put it in one place and it ends up everywhere. Where do we start? Snapchat, do we?
Well, you don't have to start with Snapchat. You can start with Instagram. But when you put a new thing on Instagram, you get the choice to share it onto Twitter and Facebook. But you only get to share it onto one thing on Facebook, i.e. your page or your personal profile. So what I did when I would go away, because I don't want to have to do too many things too many times, is I'm Snapchatting anyway, because that is a very big up and coming platform. And the reason the kids like it is because it's private. You send your Snapchats. You can set the privacy on your Snapchats to only go to all your friends, people you've actively accepted as friends, or you can actually choose certain of your friends. So, for example, Phoebe could send a Snapchat to all her mates very quickly, but not send it to her parent. So not that she's got to hide, but if she was doing something that she thought I might not enjoy, then she could keep it more private. So that's why Snapchat's becoming bigger and bigger. Do you remember I got excited about Periscope, but then got less excited about it because it was only vertical, so it couldn't do landscape. They've gone landscape now because they realised everyone wants. So live video streaming is straight. Facebook Live is now live, so you can video.
Tell us more about that. I see people doing it, and I saw you saying you wanted to do it. What do we do? Turn on the webcam within Facebook, and off we go.
Yeah, you go to your Facebook and you click into your home stream, and then you just click into as if you're going to make a comment.
Yeah.
You go add photos or video. I think this is how you do it. No, that's not how you do it. All right. I think you have to do it on a mobile device.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can do it from your desktop. It has to be a mobile device. So, but when you get to make a comment on your mobile device, you get the option to. There's a funny little icon.
I've seen it somewhere. I have seen it. Yes, you're right. I perhaps not on my desktop. Perhaps on my iPad.
Yeah, it's on the far right of the icon at the bottom underneath.
And for people who might not know what we're talking about, can you explain what you mean by live streaming on Facebook?
Yeah. So you start talking, and anyone who's on Facebook at the time and is a friend of yours or is a follower of your page will see you talking directly at them or whatever you're filming. So say you're out and about and you were filming something, they would see what you're seeing and it was streamed directly onto their timeline. It's very immediate and it's very much like Periscope and what's the other one? Nomadcast. But Periscope and it's basically Facebook is trying to take on YouTube now. So, and the thing that if you were just going to do a little tiny broadcast every single day, even if it was just, how we would be talking about Anchor, how you could do that little audio thing, very easily now. Well, if you don't want to do, if you're fine talking to camera or fine filming something on camera, just go and do it on Facebook Live. I think you get to save it afterwards, so you could then multi-purpose it. But coming back to your question, I Snapchat because my kids are on it. Then I save the best pictures or videos to my phone, and then I upload them then to Instagram. And then from Instagram, I use a tool called Zapier, which allows software to talk to other software. And Zapier then fires it onto my Facebook profile, my Facebook pages, all of them, my Twitter, and then my social media manager, Inga, picks up anything that's of interest and shares it onto LinkedIn.
Yes, I knew there was a multi-thing. I think that, I don't know how to say this nicely, so I'm just going to say it. The quality of some of the images by the time they end up on Facebook is not that great.
No, I think it's more when you're sharing video, they end up as a not great image.
Yeah, okay, got you. Okay.
So I've stopped sharing videos so much onto. I need to stop sharing videos.
I think it's probably worth reviewing your content from both Australia and America on Facebook and seeing what you thought worked and what you thought didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to go and review it. I mean, basically, video I think is just unless you're going to do it straight onto Facebook Live, I think don't share it onto other platforms.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I think there's evidence that the quality of the output reduces the further away it is from the original point. If that makes sense.
Yes, probably, and also
only on some of it. Some of the images from Australia of Neil particularly were good.
Well, they were photos, not videos, so that's
exactly.
That proves the point exactly. Yeah.
And I think anything taken inside is always a bit dodgy as well by the time it reaches Facebook, if the lighting isn't good, basically.
Yeah, of course. But the point is that this is part of the charm, right? People have got very sick of slick marketers in studios with perfect lighting and green screen backgrounds and all that stuff. So what you've got to do is you've got to realise that these immediate platforms, these behind the scenes platforms, are the things that will enable you to connect with your audience at a deeper level. People will trust you more, even if your quality of your pictures isn't all that. Because there is no doubt that I was driving a Mustang across America. There was no doubt that I got up on a Thursday morning and decided to go to Australia on Saturday. I wasn't bullshitting anyone. So I am being very authentic, and I think if you're very authentic, you make a deep connection with people.
Yes. Well, we've always known that and always believed that, and I've held to that throughout the slick. And the slick is coming back round again now, isn't it? I think authentic's beginning to sound a bit hackneyed. It's sort of real, isn't it? True, real. We can see you doing it in live time, not just you, but anybody, warts and all. Yeah. I do think people are enjoying that. Yes, I'll agree.
Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at, and you can see it now because I'm showing my screen. I'm looking at a bunch of Bernadette Doyle's clients on their way to Dublin. And they're going for a mastermind retreat, and they're all sitting on the plane, and they've just done a selfie all together. So there's that's really good marketing for Bernadette, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So I think that's the thing it enables people to see behind the scenes, and it enables people to connect with people on a very direct level. So one of the people I enjoyed most in Australia was Darren Rouse from Pro Blogger. It was so funny, Judith. I walked past him and I thought, oh, I know that bloke. And I just said, hi. And he said, hi. And later on, I said to him, I'm so sorry you didn't know me from Adam. I just felt like you were so familiar to me from seeing your pictures. And he said, oh, that's all right. It happens to me all the time. And I love it because I'm an introvert. So people always just act like they know me, which is perfect.
No, that's nice. Yeah.
And he really gave people some really good advice about creating good quality content. But his whole thing was obviously about creating good quality content on your blog, but he very much made it contemporary by saying you could actually use these content creation ideas on any of these up and coming platforms.
Yeah. So is he holding fast centrally to the blogging idea?
He's holding fast centrally to the content marketing idea, and that's what this is all about. This is about creating content on whichever platform you feel comfortable. So if you're not someone who loves to write and blog, you could be creating a video content by just sharing a thought every day, or the things I've been sharing, which are my to-do list. I don't know if you've noticed at all, but I've been sharing.
I have photographs of it. Yeah.
Yeah, photographs of my to-do list written in my moleskin. They're the things that get the most likes on Instagram because it's real. I'm taking a business from 6 figures to 7 figures, and this is what I'm doing every day to do that. And people love it for some reason. I don't know why.
Yes, I think it's out more, but I'm taking the piss. But yeah.
Well, you're allowed to, as long as it works. I don't care who takes the piss.
No. Well, I think what you're saying is the same as I said about the inspirational quotes. If one notices what achieves engagement, do more of it.
Yeah, very much so. But don't sell yourself out. Don't do what Phoebe says. Occasionally question stuff that she's seeing in this course. And I said, Phoebes, it's not. They're not telling you to do everything. They're suggesting lots of things that they know works, and you could choose what you feel most comfortable out of that. And she's cool.
Oh, well, I think we've all got that choice. And I think the interesting thing, one of my clients said on the early call today, how prepared she is to do things now at this stage of her business that she wasn't when she was beginning, because she had all sorts of resistances to it. So I think we all get more prepared to do stuff like this as it all becomes more normal around us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I thought I've got to get into Instagram, or at least understand it a bit more and use it, is because obviously Instagram ads are now available through Facebook, and it's a really different platform. So I felt I needed to understand it in order to be able to offer Instagram ads to those of my clients who want them.
But you would also describe yourself as a visual person.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
But graphically design challenged. Very much graphically design challenged. God, I hate doing stuff.
It's a very particular sub niche, isn't it?
Yes, yes, it is. But these lovely little apps are making it easy for us. So don't hold back, people. And don't just use other people's quotes. Use your own. Drop some of your own in. Or when you're reading a book, I mean, it's a brilliant way to capture all those amazing things when you're reading a book, Judith. Just reach out and create a meme out of a quote immediately while you're reading the book. Right, project updates then.
No, words of the week we haven't done yet.
Oh, right, okay.
I've got one. Have you got one?
Oh, travel. It's got to be, isn't it? And I've said everything.
You have really? Yeah, give me another one.
Expand your mind.
Oh, I think we've done that one. Well, I'll let you off word of the week this week.
Yes.
Okay.
Totally.
I've picked flexible, a preparedness to change and move with the times and the flow, and we've sort of discussed that quite a lot, oddly, in content that's gone before today. So that's quite amusing, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you can do project updates.
Well, Facebook ads, my team continue to work brilliantly. The Facebook ads course, I've really got to do some sort of launch series, where you just set it up so it's all automated and evergreen, or create a webinar, because I'm not doing it justice. It's a lovely little course, but I don't have a sales mechanism. I've got a lead magnet and a follow-up sequence, but I haven't actually got something that lays out the benefits of the course. So I'm really, I've just got to get that sorted. The other thing I want to get sorted is I want to get my video made for my terms and conditions, because remember we talked about this when I came back from America, is the fact that people sign the terms and conditions without reading it. So I want to get a visual version of me going through with the PowerPoint slides. I've had my terms and conditions turned into PowerPoint slides now, so I've just got to audio voice over it.
Do you think that because it's a video, people are more likely to do that? Just reading the terms and conditions is something that most of us skip. They do say the terms and conditions, for instance, on iTunes are longer than the Bible.
Yeah, I think you should keep your terms and conditions to 3 pages max, if you can, 3 or 4 pages. But people still don't read it. So I still.
And you think, what if I don't read them? Why would I watch your video? You think people are more likely to watch a video about terms and conditions?
Well, the thing is that when you send someone a terms and conditions, they sign it. They don't seem to take it in. But if you give them a link in an email and say you must watch this video, and then they click it, and you can actually see how far. You could even create a separate version of that video per client, so that you could actually see how far that client watched through. And it's just, I know it sounds negative, but I keep having negative experience with clients who haven't read the terms and conditions and keep trying to wriggle out of their obligations, and I just can't cope with it. It makes
really. Is it the same wriggle point?
It's when it's basically the same issue. So it's when clients haven't got a tested funnel, they come to me, I say pay 3 months up front, and then at some point during this period they want to turn their ads off while they recreate a new funnel. And then I have to then say, well, really I should be charging you a new setup fee, but I often let them off that. But then it's just basically people will just try anything they possibly can and not stick to the agreement. So is
there a way of verifying whether or not they've got a tested funnel before you take them on, or at the induction point?
If I'd have done that, Judith, I wouldn't have had any clients, because all of the people who come to me at the moment are people who are starting out new, with a new business idea. So I haven't had many people who've got proven funnels yet, because you have to work your way up the ranks to get to those people by referral. Yeah. So,
but there's an opportunity for you to do that, isn't there?
Well, I do try and do it.
No, what I mean is, that mentor a few weeks ago and various other people say you should be working more with people like that who've got the tried and tested funnel.
Yeah. Well, I've now got to puzzle out how to get in front of those people, because the people who come to me at the
I
moment.
don't think you're far away from it. Because you've got some of those people in your client base already.
Yes, I have. But in the meantime, even when I worked with Neil and we had corporate clients, they did still try and change the agreement. So I think it is worth having a firm terms and conditions. I think
it's always worth it. I think it's worth it. But the interesting thing is that even if you have a video of this, they're still going to hit this point, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But you're much more likely to be able to be robust in enforcing your terms and conditions.
Well, you are, but it's a problem for your business. The fact that they want to reinvent this funnel thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've got a to-do list as long as my arm now. After all this,
I bet. I bet you've been plenty of time on the plane to write to-do lists.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I didn't. I watched lots and lots of films, though, one of which I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But what's your project updates then?
Well, I'm potentially working with these two new people. I've started with the woman, not with the man yet. And while you've been away, we've done week 2 and 3 of the prototype, which is 6 weeks long. And it's taking a handful of mums through a startup, an accelerated. It's a bit like 7-day startup, and it's a 6-week startup. This, and we've done weeks 2 and 3 while you were away. Week 2 was finding their URL and their business names and setting up their emails and their customer avatar and branding and logo and social media profiles. So that's quite a lot to do in 1 week if you're a complete newbie. And week 3 was copywriting and business bank accounts and things like that. So I'm halfway through the prototype of one of these JVs and very enthusiastic to set up the other one, but still waiting on him. Although I've been to a webinar that he ran, I think, 2 weeks ago. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of webinars, but he was the best thing about it. He did a JV webinar with an American partner where they were doing a very meta thing. They were selling in a webinar how to sell via webinars. And they got a very good attendance, and they've sold pretty well from it. What he's demonstrated to me is that he's very good at doing that, which is not a bad thing, not a bad quality to have in a JV partner.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you? Was it? It was an actual live webinar. It wasn't an evergreen one.
No, it was a live webinar, but as I was only there to see him do his thing, I didn't actually stay to the end. So and then I've unsubscribed because it was the American person's list, and I'm not interested in what the American person does. But I've seen my potential JV partner perform and been impressed.
Yeah, brilliant. Cool. So how's all your other projects going? Anything to report?
No, nothing really. No. I'm still doing the passive ones. I haven't got time while working to do the active ones for the moment. But so I'm still in the poker, still in the lottery. The poker's fantastic. But no, I'm not reporting on those this week either.
Okay, fair enough. So who or what's impressed this week then?
You, flying to Australia at short notice. Probably the only way it can be done, because we managed to talk ourselves out of it when we thought about it too much in advance.
Yeah.
But when you just woke up and went, that's not right. Woke up and
booked, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all hail you, quite frankly, because I'm still you haven't changed my mind. It's too far. But well done you. And now I know you've done it scum class as well. I'm even more impressed.
Scum class. Well, I think definitely next year I'll go to the cruise, then I'll go to traffic and conversions, and then I'll slowly work my way to Australia.
Yeah, you can do a Nicola's round the world trip for the last a couple of months.
Yeah,
we start in Florida, goes to California. Well, the thing is with California, you are halfway there.
Exactly, and then it would have been quite a short trip from there. So I think that's the way to do it. Take January and February out of the miserable English weather and just work my way around the world. That'd be really nice. Yeah.
You could also, between now and then, and I don't know what you and Neil have agreed, but you could set up. You know what you did when you went to Rich Sheffrin's weekend, where you got people to pay for it and had a mastermind.
Oh yeah.
You could sell appointments with you on dotted places on the world.
Yeah, well, that's what Alan Forrest Smith does, doesn't he?
I was going to say, Alan Forrest Smith used to do that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much for that. Who or what's impressed me? Well, I've watched a lot of movies, Judith. A lot of movies. And 2 that particularly impressed was Burnt, the one about the chef. with Bradley Cooper. Oh my God, he's hot.
Yes.
It was so good. And I loved it because it was all, obviously fabulous food, and it was just brilliant film. And then The Dressmaker by Kate Winslet was my serious favourite. She was amazing in it. The photography was stunning. It had me from the opening credits. And it was set in Australia. It had that.
It's set in Australia. Yeah, I knew that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's got that particular brand of humour that some Australian films have. Pathos and poignancy and a strong streak of humour running through it. It's beautiful. If you're even remotely interested in clothes, it's lovely because she turns up at this dusty, horrid little hole that she grew up in, and her mad mother's bonkers as anything, and she starts creating gorgeous 50s creations. So everyone's swanning around this dusty old hole wearing the most fabulous outfits.
Yes, I've seen the trailers, and I allowed Claudia and that bloke on Film 2015 to put me off watching the rest of that. And I started with Burns and failed with it. And I'll have another go at Burns. I'll have another go at both of them, actually.
Well, you've been in the restaurant business. You should enjoy Burns.
I mean, it was appealing. I saw him and what's his name's first wife? What's the name of the woman in it?
No idea, but she was very pretty.
Yes, I know who she is. She used to be married to Jude Law. I forget what her name is. Anyway, yes, I saw them both on Graham Norton, and I thought, well, I'll watch that. And I've had a couple of goes.
Sienna Miller.
Sienna, that's it. Yeah. And I I had a couple of goes with Burns, and it didn't work out. But on the basis of your review, I might have another go. And it's often a mistake to allow the cinema reviews to put you off going to a movie, because quite often they turn out to be much better than you think. Yeah.
There were others, but I can't remember them. They've all blurred into one. Those are the two that stood.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be chatting to you on a Wednesday morning again, and life will resume normality until this time next year, I expect.
Okay.
All right. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, bye, Doc. Bye.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Judith Morgan. The podcast is called Own It, Your Business and Your Life. Do come and visit us at ownitthepodcast.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. You can find out more about Judith and visit her on her website at judithmorgan.com, and you can find Nicola at nicolacairncross.com.